In a world teeming with noise, the ancient wisdom of Stoicism shines a light on how to navigate life's chaos with serenity and strength. What if every challenge you face as a woman, whether it's the weight of societal expectations, the sting of rejection, or the quiet ache of self-doubt, could become a stepping stone to a richer, more vibrant life? Today, we're diving deep into this profound philosophy, not as a dusty academic exercise, but as a living, breathing toolkit crafted for modern women seeking empowerment, resilience, and joy. Stoicism isn't about suppressing your emotions or gritting your teeth through hardship with a forced smile. It's about transforming every obstacle into an opportunity for growth, finding peace amid the storm, and crafting a life that's not just bearable but deeply meaningful. Let's embark on this journey together, exploring how these timeless principles can speak directly to you, a daughter, a mother, a sister, a leader, and light the way to thriving in a world that often feels stacked against you. Picture a young woman named Jasmine, a single mother in Detroit, juggling to minimum wage jobs to keep her small family afloat. The days blur into nights, exhaustion seeps into her bones, and society barely notices her struggle. Yet, in the quiet moments, she stumbles across a line from Marcus Aurelius: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These words aren't just a pretty sentiment, they're a lifeline. For Jasmine, Stoicism becomes a lens to reframe her relentless grind, not as a crushing weight, but as a chance to cultivate unshakable dignity. Across the globe, in the bustling markets of Nairobi, a female entrepreneur named Amina fights to grow her small textile business against a tide of gender bias. Each no stings, but she doesn't crumble. Instead, she turns to Stoic wisdom, seeing rejection as fuel to sharpen her focus and tenacity. Though their lives differ, Jasmine and Amina share a thread. They've tapped into a philosophy that empowers them to rise above chaos, not by escaping it, but by embracing it with purpose. Women have long wrestled with historical struggles, voices silenced by tradition, spirits bound by societal chains, dreams deferred by roles they didn't choose. Philosophy, often a male-dominated realm, has rarely centered their stories. Yet Stoicism, with its focus on inner freedom, virtue, and agency, offers a universal power that transcends gender and speaks directly to the heart of female resilience. It's not about changing who you are at your core. It's about peeling back the layers of doubt and expectation to understand yourself more deeply, so you can move through the world with clarity and strength. Whether you're a caregiver pouring your heart into others, a professional breaking glass ceilings, or a dreamer carving your own path, Stoicism hands you the tools to rewrite your narrative, not as a victim of circumstance, but as an architect of your own joy. Let's walk through this philosophy, reimagined for today's women, with real stories of triumph and practical insights that resonate with your life. Perception is power, seeing yourself through a Stoic lens. What do you see when you look at yourself? A quiet soul who listens more than she speaks. A warrior who fights for her family. A woman who feels she's never quite enough. Stoicism teaches that our self-perception is often a tapestry woven from judgments and biases, threads pulled tight by years of external voices telling us who we should be. Consider Sarah, a 32-year-old teacher from Chicago. She saw herself as reserved, even timid, because she rarely raised her voice in staff meetings. But her students saw something else. Her silence wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. Her calm wasn't retreat, it was depth. This disconnect between how we see ourselves and how others perceive us is where Stoicism begins its work. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind." For Sarah, digging into why she labeled herself less uncovered a story from her past, her grandmother's voice echoing, "Good girls stay quiet." Stoicism nudged her to question that tale. Was it true? Was it holding her back? Women today carry a heavy load of labels: nurturer, peacemaker, supermom, each layered with expectations that can distort how we see ourselves. A 2021 study from the American Psychological Association found that 62% of women felt pressure to hide their true emotions to appear strong or put together. Stoicism turns this on its head. It's not about burying what you feel. It's about shining a light on it. Take Maria, a nurse in Houston working long shifts during a pandemic. When a patient snapped at her, anger flared, hot and sharp. Instead of lashing out, she paused. Why was she angry? Was it the words or the exhaustion gnawing at her? Stepping back, she chose patience over outburst, a quiet win in a noisy world. This isn't about pretending emotions don't exist. It's about understanding them so they don't rule you. The Stoics insist that reality, what is, matters more than perception, which can trick us like a funhouse mirror. For women, this means letting go of the guilt that comes with not meeting every demand. Think of Chloe, a working mom in London, drowning in deadlines and daycare schedules. She once told me, "I felt like a failure because I couldn't be the perfect mom from the magazines." Stoicism showed me I didn't have to be. I could just be there, really there, for my kids. That shift was freedom. It's about focusing on what you can do, not what you should. Are your biases chaining you to an old story? Do your perceptions match the values you hold dear? Through this Stoic lens, self-doubt becomes self-awareness, a spark that lights the path to empowerment. Sarah stopped apologizing for her quietness and started owning it. Chloe stopped chasing an impossible ideal and started living her truth. You can too. This practice takes root in reflection. Every day, women face moments that test their view of themselves: catcalls on the street, dismissive tones in boardrooms, or the inner whisper that says, "You're not enough." Stoicism asks you to pause and probe. Why do I feel this way? Is this thought mine or someone else's? In rural Alabama, a woman named Tanya grew up hearing she'd never amount to much, too soft, too female, to poop. At 40, she runs a community garden feeding dozens. She told me, "I used to believe I was small. Then I asked myself what small even meant. Turns out, it wasn't my word." That's Stoic power, reclaiming your mind from the clutter of others' judgments. Perception isn't fixed, it's fluid. In Tokyo, a young artist named Yuma struggled with rejection from galleries. She saw herself as a failure until she read Epictetus, "You become what you give your attention to." As she shifted her focus from closed doors to open canvases, painting not for approval, but for herself. Her work bloomed, and so did her confidence. For women often taught to seek validation outside themselves, this is radical. Stoicism says your worth isn't in others' eyes, it's in your grasp. Align your perception with what's real, and you'll find a strength that no one can take away. Mastering emotions, the space between chaos and calm. Emotions crash like waves: anger at a partner's neglect, joy at a friend's success, grief over a dream deferred. Stoicism doesn't demand you stop feeling, it offers you a helm to steer through the storm. Imagine Aisha, a Syrian refugee who fled with her two daughters, leaving behind a life shredded by war. In a cramped camp, fear and sorrow threatened to swallow her. Then she found Epictetus's words, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When panic rose, she lingered in that space between the trigger and her response, choosing hope over collapse. This is Stoic mastery, not silencing your heart, but guiding it. Women often bear the weight of emotional labor, tending to others' feelings while wrestling their own. A 2023 Gallup poll revealed 58% of women worldwide manage household emotions alongside their personal struggles, often at a steep cost. Stoicism provides a lifeline, premeditatio malorum, or imagining the worst to prepare for it. Before a daunting day, Aisha pictured the challenges, her daughter's tears, a stranger's cold stare, and rehearsed her response, a deep breath, a steady hand, a whispered, "We'll get through." When her youngest sobbed for a home that no longer existed, Aisha didn't snap, she soothed, her mind anchored by practice. This isn't denial, it's readiness. This mastery rewrites emotional scripts. Lisa, a corporate lawyer in New York, once saw tight deadlines as panic triggers. After embracing Stoicism, she reframed them as chances to prove her mettle. Stress became focus, frustration became fuel. Emotions don't disappear, they transform. A smile, small but mighty, plays a role here. Science agrees, smiling releases dopamine and serotonin, easing your body and mind. When Lisa grinned through a tense meeting, her calm spread, softening sharp edges. For women, often told to keep it together for everyone else, this is defiance, choosing joy not because you're forced to, but because you can. Think of Rosa, a cashier in Mexico City, facing rude customers daily. Anger bubbled, but she'd pause. Why am I mad? Can I change this person? No. So she'd smile, not fake but deliberate, shifting her mood and theirs. This isn't about faking happiness, it's about owning it. Stoicism teaches you to anticipate emotional waves, like a sailor reading the sea. Before a family gathering, Rosie imagined her uncle's jabs about her dead-end job. She'd ready herself, nod, smile. When it happened, she stayed steady, her peace intact. That's power, holding your ground without a fight. Emotions aren't enemies, they're messengers. In a small Canadian town, Emily, a widow, felt joy and guilt collide at her son's graduation. Happy he'd made it, gutted her husband hadn't. Stoicism let her sit with both, not drowning in either. She acknowledged the ache, then chose celebration. This balance is key for women, often juggling conflicting feelings, pride and exhaustion, love and resentment. Stoicism says, feel it all, but decide what steers you. That choice is yours alone. The power of now, living fully in the present. The past whispers regrets, missed chances, harsh words. The future hums with worries. Will I succeed? Will I be enough? Stoicism plants you firmly in the now, the only ground you truly hold. Seneca warned, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. For women, this hits home. Priya, a single woman in Mumbai, cared for her aging parents, her mind tangled in what-ifs. Why didn't I marry? What if I'm alone forever? Stoicism pulled her back. Sitting with her mother, tasting the spices in her curry, she found peace. The present became her sanctuary. Society loves to drag women across time, shame for past failures, pressure for future milestones. A 2022 UN Women report found 47% of women globally felt trapped by timelines. Marriage by 30, kids by 35, career peak by 40. Stoicism cuts through. Marcus Aurelius saw life as a string of nows, each a chance to live with honor. Priya stopped chasing should-haves and asked, what's here? Her answer, this meal, this laugh, this love. It's not avoidance, it's presence. Washing dishes, she felt the warm water, heard the clink of plates. Joy crept in, quiet and real. This focus unshackles you. In rural Guatemala, Ana, a farmer, faced drought and debt. Past losses stung, future harvests loomed uncertain. Instead of despair, she tilled what soil she had, basking in the sun's heat. Her now, Hands in dirt, hope in motion built resilience. Stoicism doesn't erase yesterday or tomorrow. It sharpens where your power lies. Mind drifting? Reel it in. Ask, can I control this? If not, why carry it? For women often stretched thin, this is relief, thriving not despite the chaos, but within it. In Urban Soul Minji, a student, obsessed over exams she couldn't redo and jobs she couldn't yet land. Stoicism taught her to breathe, to study the page before her. Her grades rose, her panic fell. Presence isn't passive, it's active. At a women's shelter in Atlanta, Carla listened to a resident's story, phone down, eyes up. That moment mattered. Stoicism says the now is your domain. Fill it with intent. Save a coffee's bitterness, a child's giggle, a task well done. These anchors ground you, making life not just endurable but rich. Resilience is a flame, turning hardship into strength. Hardship isn't a wall, it's a forge. Stoics see it as fire, turning obstacles into light. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Picture Fatima, a Pakistani activist jailed for protesting gender violence. In a dim cell, she didn't shatter, she reflected. Silence taught patience, confinement courage. Freed, she roared louder. Her flame grew brighter. Women's lives brim with such fires. In 1848, suffragettes like Elizabeth Cady Stanton faced jeers and threats, yet their resolve hardened. Today in Manila, a single mom named Luz lost her home in a pandemic eviction. She didn't fold, she bartered sewing for shelter, turning loss into grit. Stoicism frames these as lessons. Seneca said difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Fatima imagined jail before it happened, cold bars, hard floors, steeling herself. When it came, she was ready. This premeditation turns fear into armor. Resilience isn't passive. May, a tech worker in Silicon Valley, hit a glass ceiling, overlooked for promotions despite her skill. Anger flared, but she turned to Stoicism. What can this teach me? Patience became innovation. She built her own startup. Hardship isn't punishment, it's potential. In a Brazilian favela, Sophia cared for siblings after her mother's death. Hunger gnawed, but she saw it as a call to fight. She studied by candlelight, earned a scholarship. Stoicism says every trial is fuel. Use it. For women, often told to bear it quietly, this is rebellion. In Ireland, Siobhan, a nurse, faced burnout during a hospital crisis. Instead of quitting, she asked, "How can this make me stronger?" She journaled each night, patience saved, lessons learned. Her calm grew, her decisions sharpened. Daily? Ask, what's this teaching me? In South Africa, Naledi lost her job to layoffs. She planted a garden, fed her neighbors, found purpose. Hardship's heat doesn't break you, it tempers you, forging a soul that shines through storms. Virtue is beauty, the true allure of a woman. Beauty isn't sky deep, it's soul deep. Stoicism redefines allure as virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, temperance. Marcus Aurelius prized the spirit's grace over fleeting looks. Elena, a social worker in Bogota, bore scars from a childhood fire. She hid, ashamed, until Stoicism showed her that her kindness, her steady hand in chaos, drew people close. Clients didn't see flaws, they saw strength. Society fixates on women's exteriors, 43 of U.S. women in a 2023 DOV survey felt judged by appearance alone. Stoicism flips this. True beauty is mastery over impulses, fears, choices. In Senegal, Aminata, a teacher, defied marriage norms, facing scorn. Her dignity, educating girls, standing tall, won hearts. Virtue isn't loud, it's magnetic. A woman who moves with purpose, who holds peace in turmoil, radiates a pull no makeup can mimic. This beauty thrives in acceptance. Eleanor didn't erase her scars, she embraced them, honing her compassion. In rural India, Priyanka, a widow, faced village gossip. She didn't shrink, she taught weaving, lifting others. Stoicism asks, what do you bring to the world? Calm, wisdom, justice. In a Texas diner, Carla, a waitress, served with warmth despite long hours. Her smile wasn't forced, it was choice, reflecting her core. For women often pressed to look the part, this shifts everything. Your character, not your cheekbones, defines you. Presence that inspires, leading with quiet strength. Presence isn't noise, it's weight. A Stoic woman enters a space, her calm a ripple. Marcus Aurelius lead with steady words, open ears, lifting Rome. Today, women wield this. In Johannesburg, drive. Nia tends patience, listening fully, no rush, no distraction. Her focus says you're enough. Trust blooms. In a 2021 McKinsey study, 38 of female leaders felt ignored in meetings. Stoicism turns this into power. NIA's steady gaze, measured tone command respect, not by force, but by being. Presence shines in the everyday. In Tokyo, Hannah faced a yelling boss. She didn't flinch, she stood firm, replying with reason. Her calm disarmed him. Stoicism crafts this, mindful, virtuous, uplifting. At her Chicago soup kitchen, Maya served with focus, her smile easing hunger beyond food. It's not suppression, it's intent. Her posture, her voice aligned with kindness, smoothing tensions. For women, often sidelined, this is quiet thunder. Rooted in the now, presence cuts through chaos. In a Delhi classroom, Ronnie taught restless kids, her attention unwavering. They settled, drawn in. Stoicism says, be here, fully. In a Seattle office, Kim met deadlines with poise, her clarity contagious. This isn't loud leadership, it's deep, proving women's strength lies not in volume, but in resonance. Endless growth, the Stoic path to becoming. Growth isn't a destination, it's a road. Epictetus surged, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. For women, this is liberation. In Vietnam, Lin, a farmer's daughter, dreamed beyond rice paddies. Stoicism fueled her. Harvests taught patience, failures courage. She studied by lantern, became a nurse. In a 2022 UNESCO study, 54 of girls felt education mattered less for them. Stoicism defies this. Lynn asked nightly, what did I learn? How can I rise? Humility, knowing there's more, pushed her forward. Challenges for Jew. In Berlin, Sophia, a coder, faced tech bro bias. She didn't sulk, she upskilled, her virtue gleaming. Stoicism turns days into chapters of growth. In Nigeria, Aishari built after floods, asking, what's next? She learned carpentry, housed her kin. For women often boxed in, this is defiance, choosing progress over ease. Marcus Aurelius learned from all, so can you. Every struggle, every soul teaches. Who will you become? That's your story to write. This is Stoicism for women, a warm call to strength, virtue, joy. From Detroit to Delhi, it's your toolkit. Every challenge teaches, every moment lifts. You're not just surviving, you're weaving a tale of power, one choice at a time.